Much of the land in the world is grassland. The soil of the grasslands is better for growing grass than any other product. Grass can grow in the mountains and on steep hillsides. It may grow in the sandy areas where there is little topsoil, but it grows in all types of soil and in almost any climate. In the United States, almost half of the land is grassland. The grassland states extend from North Dakota south to Mexico and from Kansas as far west as the Pacific Ocean. Since people can't eat grass, why then is grass such an important crop? Meat animals, like beef cattle, graze on this grass and depend on it for 3/4 of all the food they eat. Most sheep, too, depend on grass for almost all of their diet. The millions of lambs and cattle are really little more than grass turned into meat and other products such as wool and leather. The Corn Belt states extend from as far east as Ohio, west to Nebraska, and from Minnesota in the north, south into Missouri. California and Florida are also becoming cattle-feeding states. Most of the cattle from the range area are sent to the feedlots of the Corn Belt for fattening. Fat cattle make better meat. Now it's roundup time. The calves are cut out from the herd, and the cattle that are ready for fattening are shipped to the Corn Belt. These cattle are in a feedlot eating corn. Here they are fed to make better meat and to have just the right finish. Finish means the degree and distribution of fatness. Cattle, sheep, and hogs eat about 4/5 of all the corn grown in the United States. Most hogs are raised on farms in the Corn Belt of the Middle West. Lambs, too, are sent to the feedlots for fattening. About 2/3 of all cattle. So, almost 2/3 of all meat is eaten east of the Mississippi. On the average, there are more than 1,000 miles between the places where livestock is raised and where people eat it as meat. This has led to the construction of great livestock markets located in mid-America, mostly in cities such as Chicago, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Kansas City, Missouri, South St. Paul, Minnesota, Waterloo, Iowa, and others. One way of marketing cattle is direct. The cattle buyer purchases the cattle on the producer's feedlot. Another way of marketing sheep, hogs, and cattle is through the public stockyards, where a commission man represents the farmer, who usually doesn't come to the stockyards. His job is to sell the farmer's cattle to get the best possible price. For his efforts, he gets a commission, which is a small share of the sale price. After the animals have been purchased, they are sent off to be slaughtered and made into meat and many other products. Inside the dressing plant, the cattle are moved on overhead conveyors. This is called the disassembly line. As they move along, skilled butchers remove the hides, which are very carefully saved and are later made into leather. Other butchers split the beef into halves. Each half is called a side. The sides are washed with hot water. Everything is kept clean and sanitary. U.S. government inspectors are always present in meatpacking plants that sell their products in other states. The job of this highly trained inspector is to inspect the meat for purity. The beef sides are covered with muslin sheets before cooling. This shapes the fat so that it will not tend to run, causing it to be lumpy after it has been cooled. They are then moved along the trolley to the chill rooms, where they are cooled to a temperature just above freezing. A day or two later, when the meat has been chilled, it may be graded for quality by the meat packers or by a government man. This side of beef is marked prime, which means it meets the government standards for the very best. Among the things the grater looks for are these fine lines of fat which run through the red part of the meat. Lambs and sheep go on a disassembly line too, but they are not split into sides. They are kept in the chill rooms until ready for market. Hogs which have been chilled move into the pork cutting department. The hams, which are the hind legs, are cut off, as are the shoulders or front legs. The hams are skinned, and some fat is removed. They are sent to the curing cellars. The rest of the carcass starts along the disassembly line. A butcher expertly pulls out the pork loin with his two-handled knife. The spare ribs are removed. Bacon is made from the belly of the hog. This roller flattens the slab of bacon. The backs are sent to be made into lard or salt pork. The trimmings are separated into lean meat and fat. The fat goes to the refinery to be rendered into lard and many other products. Hams, after curing, are wrapped in cotton stockinets. They are hung on ham trees and moved into the smokehouse. The smoke, made by burning sawdust from wood like hickory, circulates among the hams for about 2 days. After the hams are cooled, they are wrapped for shipping to market. Bacon is smoked like ham. Later, it is sliced, separated into individual packages, weighed, and wrapped to help protect the meat and to retain the flavor. In making frankfurters, ground and spiced meat is forced into the sausage casing by air pressure and automatically linked. It goes to the smoke rooms to bring out the flavor. The frankfurters are then wrapped and made ready for market. In their laboratories, the meat packers develop many new items and better uses for the thousands of byproducts other than foods that come from the packing plants. From hides come shoes. From lamb's wool comes cloth. From fats comes soap. Bones make buttons. And from the glands come many medicines like insulin and adrenaline. The meat packers constantly check and test their products for quality and food value. The meat is now ready for market. It is moved to the distant cities and towns in refrigerator trucks and railroad cars which have been iced to keep the meat cool and fresh. The fresh meat is hung in the car, and other meat products are stacked underneath to conserve space. On the way to the meat packer's branch house. Here, your local butcher buys the meat for his market. He carefully selects the types of meat that will please his customers. About 6.5 million people work in the producing of meat to turn the livestock raised on over 4 million farms into nutritious meat for your table. Meat which once was a sea of grass on the western range.